he also noticed that the dogmatic structure of the church still left the door open for the divine individual. It's like you don't get a hierarchy without getting a tyranny along with it, but there's a hell of a difference between the 30 or so countries in the world where anyone with any sense would want to live, and the other 150 that are basically run by barbaric thugs. And it's important to keep the distinction between those two things in mind. It's like, we've got some things that we should put together and clean up, and people are discriminated against for unfair reasons, and that's to everyone's detriment, obviously. But it's a multivariate problem, and the positioning of someone in a hierarchy of competence is in part due to their, what would you say, to the historical context within which that hierarchy has emerged. But to say it's all a consequence of that is part of what I regard as the radical leftist war on the idea of competence itself. Because I actually think that's the fundamental narrative driving the real radical leftists, is that they hate the idea of competence itself. It's deeper than George Orwell's comment in Road to Wigan Pier, where he said, well, the problem with middle-class British socialists is that they don't like the poor, they just hate the rich. Which is like dead on, man, vicious diagnosis. It's worse than that, is that the radical leftists don't like the oppressed, they just hate the competent. I really believe that. I think it's unbelievably pathological and dangerous.
It is.
So
the more nuanced conversations like these, rather than binary yes or no, sort of reductionist conversations around complex topics like a competence hierarchy that surface to fruition in the media sphere, I think over time we will get to a point where more and more people have deeply complex and nuanced conversation